Hey everybody, welcome to some MXGP 2020. I'm excited to share with you guys my thoughts on the game. I know everybody's playing it now. I wasn't able to pump something out before release date. Actually just getting over being pretty damn sick. So we're going to hop straight into gameplay. That's what this is all about. We're going to do quick modes, Grand Prix. You know what? We can actually load this. So this will be Kegums, Jeffrey Hurlings on the 450, so MXGP class, and diving right into a race. So let's just load this sucker instead of having to go through all the menus. I have the length at medium. You can actually see right here, length medium. AI is on realistic, and that's important because they're actually a lot harder this time around, just like in Supercross 4. And I have it on the advanced physics. So kind of my standard setup here. And we're just going to hop straight on track. So I want to say one quick thing. When you load up the game, you start in your career and you ride a stock 250, and it's very lethargic, it's very slow, it's not that exciting. My first thoughts on the game was, oh no. And that's always a bummer. But now that I've switched to a factory 450, the game has some really good qualities, and yeah, I wish they would start everyone off like on a factory bike just to see what it's like, and then go back to, okay, now you're a privateer. Just a side note, let's get on track here. They do a nice little slow-mo thing that I conveniently skipped. The trick of these games, kind of just go nice and slow off the start, dive to the inside, boom, whole shot. And keep in mind, I'm doing that mainly because they're on the realistic difficulty. Now, first thing you're going to notice, no ruts. Okay, there's no ruts, but there are a lot of these inside berms, and it's kind of like you have to take them. If you don't, the AI just takes them and really swallows you up. I do have to say the MXGP games have always done a really great job with the dirt textures and how it looks. You can see that it was like just freshly watered. All the little kind of pooling up spots and the real low stuff, like in this rut here. Really cool. And it seems like in some spots it definitely does affect your traction, which is pretty sweet. But overall, no ruts, same old terrain as always. Pretty weird section here. Again, this is backwards through Kegums, at least in my brain. I don't know what backwards actually is, but in previous games the configuration was different. I think that may have been in MXGP 3. I can't remember about Pro and 2019 right now. Gameplay. So, again, you kind of need to hit these inside ruts, or inside, I won't even call them ruts, because they're more just inside berms. I expect the AI to swallow me up a little bit here soon. You really have to be perfect with this realistic difficulty, at least at where my skill level is now with the game just coming out. But the game is a little bit more like Supercross than it is a previous MXGP title. In the Supercross games, it seems like, if you guys remember, in Supercross 2, you could really just throw it into a corner and slide the back end around, just pin it. There wasn't really any skill as far as hitting that line cleanly or rolling the throttle on or anything like that. And then in Supercross 3, they changed it to more where you really needed to get that bike rotated into the corner before you just pinned it. Otherwise, you were just going to push wide or kind of understeer, I guess, right? And then in Supercross 4, I know a lot of you guys haven't had your hands on that game yet, but I was lucky enough to play it a good bit, and it's even more so. So you really have to hit the right line. You have to get that bike slowed down into the corner. You need to rotate the bike before you really get on it. Now, to compare it to previous games even further, yes, you need to slow down, you need to get the bike rotated in the corner, but if you remember in MXGP 19 or MXGP Pro, it was very much a game of throttle control if you had it on advanced physics. You really needed to focus on being smooth on that throttle, or you would either spin out and crash, or you would lose a ton of momentum. So in this game, yeah, you need to be slow into the corner, you need to rotate the bike, you need to hit the right line and not get on it too early, but you don't really have to worry about the back end spinning too much unless you're in the mud. You can definitely lose momentum when you're on a rainy race, and I'll try to show you that here after we get a little ways into this race. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of shocked that I'm out front. The AI is difficult, and I'm really not giving that a very good showcase. Shoot. I tried to use the rear brake there to kind of slide that back end out a little bit, so that was pretty much on me. Let's see if I can catch these guys. I don't know if I'll be able to be honest with you. You get the whole shot, you kind of get that advantage. But to just straight up race these guys, let's see. I don't like hitting that. It slows you down. While we're trying to catch these guys, let's talk about whips. Same old whips as you would expect. Don't expect anything new or exciting there. Basically your canned whips, move your sticks closer to each other or apart from each other, and you get your canned whip. They do have it a little bit more free and open, and I'll try to show that on a big jump. You can get yourself in trouble like I almost did there, where it kind of locks to a weird angle. But let me get to a bigger, more controllable jump, and I'll try to share with you guys. Like even that was just me moving the sticks around. Now I don't think you're ever going to want to do this as an actual whip, because it doesn't look that cool, right? Like this is me just moving the sticks around. And I'm sure you can do a little better than that, but to me it's more, they opened it up where it's a little bit more free like the more recent Supercross games. And by doing that, it means that as you're riding around and even just going off of small jumps, you can kind of put your own little bit of movement and style on the bike. It's not really a whip. It's not really anything like that. Your whips are going to be your canned whips just like that. So that's really all I have to say about those. Same old, same old. But as far as going deeper into the ground physics, we talked about rotating the bike. We haven't really talked about traction that much other than that rear end. The front end is pretty solid, honestly, but you just need to get the bike rotated. So the front end has plenty of grip, and I have joint brakes off, so if I really need to get that bike rotated in a hurry, you can use that rear brake. But it seems to me like the fastest way in this game is to be super clean, like I was on the first few laps of this race. It was just being super clean, being really tidy. It's not as much being on a ragged edge. It's more about hitting your lines, being smart, maximizing your momentum, and getting on the throttle nice and early, but keeping that momentum up. It seems to be a game more of accuracy than of brute force, like hucking the bike around and having some crazy style. So that's really what I feel about that ground physics. They feel nice. I think in MXGP and the Supercross games, we all know that their skills really, or where they shine, I guess, is on the ground physics. They are good. I think even if you had a game like MXGP or Supercross that had these ground physics, but you had the free whips of something like MX bikes, you could have a really great combo. Is that realistic? No, I don't think it is. Little cheater line there, see if you can hop through this last thing. There's definitely some faster lines through those rollers than what I'm taking, but yeah, whips leave a lot to be desired, but the ground physics, oh, I didn't think I was hitting that. The ground physics are still pretty great, right? You can go a lot of different directions with them, but you can have some really great battles, and that's where these games shine, both Supercross and MXGP, is really all about how good of races you can have, especially with your friends, right? The reset is super quick like you saw there. You don't lose a ton of time like you would in a game like MX Simulator trying to pick the bike up and get back to racing. You can just crash, get back up on the bike. You'll be behind a little bit, but you can maybe catch your buddy still. Keep in mind this is more of an arcade game, and that's what you want, right? So it's not a sim, but I will say it's pretty clear that if you're going to be really, really fast in this game, you're going to just be smooth as butter, and you're going to really know the perfect lines to hit, where you can maximize your momentum, how you can stay low using those scrubs or the canned whips. The games have always been that way, that if you're, yeah, everyone thinks they're fast, these casual players and console players, but it's like when you get into a serious race, like the DMR series, and there's some guys that are really, really fast, you start to realize, like, oh, to really maximize the potential in this game and go super, super fast, there's a skill gap there. There's no doubt a skill gap there, even though people think, you know, arcade game, it's easy. Nah, there's a skill gap here for sure. So there's always a silver lining there, right? But yeah, this game definitely feels a little bit more like the Supercross games, but the thing I love about the MXGP games is just the tracks are so great. I love all the tracks on the MXGP schedule. They're just so much fun, and it's nice to have this platform and it not just be the Supercross game. Supercross is really great in its own respect, but I love outdoors as well, and the MXGP tracks are just awesome. Always loved watching MXGP, almost mostly for how awesome the tracks are. So yeah, it's overall a really great experience and really enjoyable. You get an idea there. Let's hop really quickly back over to a muddy race, and we can check out what the ground physics, how the game feels, how that gameplay is when there's mud. So we'll start the video again here when we get on the gate in a mud race. Alright, here we are. The rain is coming down. Let's hop right onto the gate. See if we can do our same trick here. I really don't want to be caught up in all of the AI. Let's get out front and show you a little bit of what it's like here. Gotta be smooth, gotta be smart. It definitely slides a lot on the corner entry, and you want to ride up a gear. Your vision, it's pretty cool how it looks, the raindrops on the screen. It definitely takes a second to get used to because it does impact your vision. A little bit slower, tiptoe through here, look at the standing water. Trying to get that power down. Seems like it definitely pays off to ride up a gear at times. You do a lot of sliding if you stay in like first and second gear. Doesn't seem to affect you too much on how far you can jump, trying to clear some of these jumps. It doesn't slow you down that much unless it's something maybe out of a corner possibly, because you do spin. Here's first gear. That's maybe not a good example. We'll try to find another corner. Oof. That was pretty nasty. Oh no, I shouldn't have tried to whip! Oh man, we're dead there. Alright, let's battle with these guys a little bit. This little kink, I think you can make up some time on them. See if we get to the inside of Geyser here. Second gear, not using first, but look at the spinning. Hopefully you guys caught that. Oh, he gave me a little bump and I couldn't keep it tight to the corner. But hopefully you guys noticed that I spun a lot out of that 180-degree first corner. Lost a lot of momentum by doing that. So you really need to maybe ride up a gear or just be smoother on that throttle, which is nice. Weird little camera glitch. There's a few of those. And it seems like it's caused mainly by the banners. Even there, the little glitch from the finish line banner. Getting a little sketchy here. But let's try to catch these guys and have a little battle. I feel like I can do it. But again, they're on realistic difficulty, so it's not the easiest. That's a really, really fun jump to scrub, by the way. So is this one. Second gear. Seems like blipping the throttle sometimes pays off. Into first there, probably need to avoid that. Just kind of preloaded and hucked it through that one. Ooh, little case. Is that Paul in? Getting a little Dude, I hit that same spot. You can definitely push wide, and maybe that's an example, even in the medium speed corners, you gotta get that bike rotated because you will push wide. So we can dive down Horbeek here, kind of being a little rough. Never called him Horbeek before. Okay. There we go. Those inside ruts are really fun when you get the angle right and you just carve through them and slingshot out of them. They're actually really, really fun. A lot of spinning out of that corner. I was managing it. Fourth here, lugs a little bit. Even on a straightaway like that, fourth was still a little rough. Kind of slow up on this one, preload on this to make sure you clear it. Here's that scrub jump. Crap. Even though the can whips are a little bit lame, oh shoot. Sometimes they're pretty fun, let's be real. Sometimes it's a fun scrub. It doesn't look that bad in the right circumstances. But it's not what we want. Not what we want. Eventually they're gonna be able to spend the time and get some killer whips in these games, and that'll be a really interesting thing. When they get the air physics dialed in these games, it'll be crazy to see what people think at that point. People will probably still find something to complain about. I mean, let's be real. Yeah, I wanted to scrub that again. Some weird camera glitches there. Yeah, a lot more sliding. Look at me sliding into that corner. And that was in fourth, actually, I think. I think I was in fourth, and that back end was still spinning. So, I really like the way the bike feels in the rain. It's manageable. It's not like, oh my god, this is just a shit show. It's actually manageable, and I think people are going to be more up to having like online races in the rain. In the previous games, people would kind of just always pick sunny, and I think random might be the way to go if you're asking me, because this is still really great, and it doesn't feel frustrating. It's like, it's really, really fun. I think they dialed in the rainy races, and again, I think it showcases, and we got to give credit where credit is due, that the ground physics in these games, they're pretty good, right? They're not like they're terrible. I mean, they're one of the best. Compare it to some other games out there, and they're definitely one of the best as far as ground physics goes. So we need to give credit where credit's due. And just give them a hard time about their in-air physics until they do something about it, right? That's about all we can do. So anyway, guys, I think that gives you a good look of the game. It's really, really fun. The physics, let's pause it for a little bit of sound calming, Jesus. But the game is really fun. The key things I want to touch on at the end of the video here is the AI is more difficult. There are no ruts. There's a lot of berms, kind of inside berms everywhere. The in-air physics haven't really changed, other than you have a little bit more freedom if you want to throw a tiny bit more style, but no real whip changes. The ground physics are still pretty great, but a little bit different. They're more towards the Supercross aspect, as far as having to slow down, get the bike rotated into the corner before you get on it. The rain is really great. I really enjoyed these physics. You're sliding around a lot more, and the tracks are just really great in MXGP. I'm sure I missed something there, but that is kind of my main thought on this game right now. A lot of fun to be had here, especially as they do some updates and we all get a little bit more comfortable. I feel like we're all going to have some really great racing. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing really well, and I'll see you in the next video.